Odeni, you swept me.
Mama, no, I didn't mean to. I didn't know you were still lying there.
A boundary is needed to honor both the living and the dead.
Tonight, I perform a ritual of our sight. What to see and what to not see.
People in the village said Odeni's compound kept a small, patient secret. It sat at the curve of the low wall and watched the cooking fires like an old friend. Her name was Mama Emiri. She had died many seasons ago, but she walked the yard as plainly as any living aunt, settling herself at the same place every morning. She was not a shadow. She was visible, firm and familiar, the lines of her years clear. Around her, a soft haze trembled like heat rising from a pot. Her wrapper never gathered dust. Her eyes reflected light more than the eyes of living people. They caught candle and sun and kept a small secret. She cast no shadow. If a goat or a chicken came near, the animal stepped wide around her feet, as if an old rule held them back. She could do things the living could not. She passed through the end wall sometimes, appearing as though stepping through a curtain. The air felt cool near her. Still, she laughed at small jokes, scolded when salt was wasted, and enjoyed the smell of fresh yam pottage, behaving as elders do even when they belong partly to another world. Ikenga, Odeni's husband, made fire and split wood and treated Mama Emiri with careful respect born of habit and worry. Enene, Odeni's distant nephew, liked to sit close and trace the edge of Mama Emiri's wrapper with shy fingers, testing whether it was cloth or something softer. A proverb in Igbo says, when a guest becomes familiar, the door learns the rhythm of their footsteps. That is how the family lived with Mama Emiri, ordinary, even comfortable. But not every home kept ghosts the same way. Lately, quiet words passed from compound to compound, careful talk that seemed afraid of making noise. Some elders said spirits chose to rest on the other side now, not to burden the living. Neighbors spoke less about the dead returning. Where there had been kola and laughter, there was a polite distance. Mama Emiri heard those whispers on the spirit paths, and when she sat at the wall, she sometimes looked beyond the gate as if listening for a change she did not want to believe. For now, mornings moved in their usual way. Wood struck, a broom whispered across the yard, Enene hummed, and Ikenga arranged pots. Mama Emiri watched with eyes that glinted like two small lamps. The house felt whole with her in it. Yet beneath the ordinary, something had begun to lean, and it would not be still for long. The morning began gently in Odeni's compound. A harmattan breeze moved across the yard, carrying ash and fresh earth. Roosters crowed as if arguing who had seen the sunrise first. It was a morning where everything followed its familiar path, almost. Odeni tied her wrapper and swept the compound floor. Her broom was new. Each stroke curled dust into little spirals. Enene followed, hopping as though the ground were a drum. Enene, Odeni called, stop jumping and gather those dry leaves. I am gathering them, he shouted, mostly chasing a grasshopper. Ikenga chopped firewood nearby, the clean strikes echoing through the compound. Between each swing, he glanced toward the far wall. Mama Emiri was already there. She sat in her familiar place, edges shimmering. Her reflective eyes watched the morning, catching light with unusual clarity. She looked peaceful and like someone listening for something far away. Her presence cooled the air slightly. A small goat wandered close, then turned aside, avoiding her feet like some forbidden path. Odeni swept closer, moving with the practiced rhythm of someone who swept this ground since girlhood. She had greeted Mama Emiri earlier. The old woman only nodded, her eyes drifting toward the compound gate, as if waiting for a sound she knew would come. Lately, the village spoke in careful tones. The dead of some families stopped visiting. Some spirits, people said, had chosen the land of the dead, and some families felt relieved. A proverb in Igbo says, when a host grows tired, even the best guest becomes a burden. Mama Emery heard such whispers from the spirit paths and felt them settle like dust around her. Enene ran past, dragging a stick along the wall. Mama Emery, did any spirits come with you today? She smiled faintly. Not today, my child. Today is quiet. Ikenga paused. Quiet is good, he said. Too much activity makes a house restless. Mama Emery's reflective eyes flicked toward Obeni, sweeping, unaware of the small shift tightening the morning. Nothing looked unusual, yet the air felt slightly heavier. A delicate change hung between the living and the dead. As Odeni raised her broom to clear the last stubborn corner, none of them knew that by midday, the quiet morning would no longer be quiet. By late afternoon, the sun had pushed warmth into every corner of the compound. Odeni swept faster, hoping to finish before the heat turned work into punishment. The broom cut through dust plainly. Mama Emery rested at the curve of the wall, her edges brighter in the growing light. Her reflective eyes were half closed, but spirits did not sleep the way the living did. They drifted, half here, half somewhere deeper. Odeni knew Mama Emery was there. She always was. Yet over past moons, a small unease had grown in her. It was not fear. It was the exhaustion of balancing living and dead in one household. She never spoke it aloud, but sometimes when chores pressed tight, she wondered whether spirits should rest in their own world. A proverb in Igbo says, when a pot is too full, even good soup will spill. Odeni never meant to grow weary of Mama Emery's presence, but weariness arrives without asking. She lifted the broom, angling it sharply, and brought it down with a quick sweep. The bristle struck something soft beneath the wrapper. The wrapper rustled like a startled bird. Mama Emery sat up smoothly. It looked unnatural. The hairs around her brightening, her eyes opening with a fierce gleam. Odeni, you swept me. Odeni's hands trembled. Mama, no, I didn't mean to. I didn't know you were still laying there. Ikenga straightened. Enene froze. Twig clutched. Mama Emery rose slowly, dignity in every motion. You did not know? She asked, voice steady but wounded. You sweep this yard every morning, and I sit here every morning. Yet today you did not look? Odeni swallowed. You are so still. Your eyes were closed. I thought you had maybe gone back for a little while. Mama Emery's expression tightened, a small tremor through her shimmering outline. So your eyes now pass over me easily? No, Mama, I only made a mistake. There was no anger, only hurt. Her reflective eyes dimmed with a feeling she did not name. Something she had sensed had been growing, but she refused to speak it aloud. Not today. She wrapped her cloth slowly, as though covering an invisible wound. Odeni, she said softly, a daughter should know when her mother is near. The sentence hit heavy. Odeni's breath faltered. Ikenga looked at the earth. Enene clung to her side. The compound felt smaller. The broom drooped in Odeni's hand. Mama Emery turned her reflective eyes toward the far end of the yard, a long, quiet look whose meaning none of them could yet name. In that silence, something between the living and the dead shifted, just enough for trouble to begin. By afternoon, the compound felt heavy, as if the morning's incident had wrapped itself around every tree and pot. Ikenga called a family meeting under the Udala tree. The place quarrels were settled and laughter returned. But today, no one laughed. Odeni sat with head folded. Enene clung to her side, unusually quiet. Ikenga stood like a pillar, jaw set. Mama Emery remained seated slightly apart. Her presence felt different. She did not shimmer with her usual calm. Her eyes were lowered and unreadable. Finally, Ikenga cleared his throat. Mama Emery, Odeni didn't mean what happened. The broom was new. She was only sweeping. Mama Emery did not lift her head. I know what a broom is, Ikenga. I know what accidents are, but some accidents touch deeper places. Odeni bowed. Mama, I am sorry. I truly am. I didn't see you. I thought you had... She stopped.
She did not finish, "I thought you were gone." Mama Emery looked up. The faint shimmer around her flickered. "That is what pains me. I was right before you, and still you looked past me." A proverb in Igbo says, when a hand forgets to greet its owner, something is unsettled. No one quoted it aloud, but everyone felt it. Ikanga shifted. "Mama, we honor you. This house honors you. Today was a mistake." Mama Emery studied him. "Is that so?" Odeni felt the weight of the gaze. She wanted to say yes. She wanted to say she cherished Mama Emery's presence. But beneath her apology, a quiet guilt pressed. She wondered more than once how much of herself she lost trying to care for both worlds. She hated that the thought existed and that her mother could sense it without hearing it. Enene tugged Odeni's wrapper. "Mama Emery, will you stay with us?" Mama Emery's eyes softened, but the hurt did not leave them. "Child," she said gently, "sometimes staying is not the same as being welcome." The words dropped like a heavy calabash.
Ikenga rubbed his chin. "Mama, let us settle this. We spoke, we apologized. Let peace return." Mama Emery looked at him a long time. Then she spoke a sentence that chilled the air. "Peace cannot return until truth does." No one asked her to explain. No one felt brave enough. The meeting ended with no solution, only silence. And silence, as everyone knew, is where bigger storms begin. Evening crept into the compound. The air remained tight after the meeting. No quarrel had been resolved. Everyone moved as though afraid to disturb the fragile thread that held them together. Mama Emery sat at the wall, the stillness around her now the stillness of decision. Odeni kept glancing from the cooking area. Ikanga sharpened a knife without really seeing it. Inene pretended to play but watched Mama Emery. As the sun dipped, Mama Emery stood. The air cooled. She did not speak. She walked toward the back wall, steps silent, feet barely touching the ground. Odeni stiffened. "Mama, are you leaving?" Mama Emery paused. Her cloth fluttered, though there was no breeze. She turned her reflective eyes briefly toward Odeni. For a little while. Then she walked through the wall. Her body passed through the clay as though it were water. No sound, only a soft ripple of shimmering air remained. Ikenga exhaled. "She has gone to think," he said quietly. But Odeni heard something else in the short answer. It is said that when a tree leans, it has already made its choice. Mama Emery's leaving felt like that kind of leaning. On the other side of the wall, the world shifted. The spirit paths opened, winding lines of memory and light. They hummed softly. Far ahead, she sensed other presences, spirits who, like her, still visited, and others who had stopped. As she walked, faint murmurs reached her, whispers carried by the spirit winds. Not words, but emotions. Weariness, uncertainty, quiet hurt. They came from spirits who loved their families and from spirits who had stopped visiting. She slowed. It wasn't only her. It wasn't only Odeni. Something deeper was bending between the worlds. At the spirit grove, where visiting spirits paused, she felt them gathering, some bright, some faint. They did not call a meeting, but when they turned their reflective eyes toward her, Mama Emery understood. The broom incident in Odeni's compound had become a signal, small on the surface but echoing something larger. It was time to speak, time to confront what none had dared say aloud. A quiet tension settled over the grove, and in that hush, the first unvoiced question drifted through the spirit air. Is our place in the lives of the living beginning to fade? The spirit did not answer yet, but they had come to listen.
Night deepened in the spirit grove.
Shapes shimmered, some bright, others faint. They gathered not in anger, but in the heavy quiet that forms when too many unspoken thoughts occupy the same space. Mama Emiri stood among them, feeling the weight of those hearts, the same heaviness she carried from Odeni's compound. No one called the meeting to order. The silence demanded attention. A spirit elder stepped forward, his shimmering pulsed like slow breath. "We have felt a shift," he said. Others nodded. Nkemjika, who visited her grandchildren, spoke next. "My family used to leave kola for me each night," she said. "Now they forget, not out of spite, but because their lives feel full, too full." A murmur of agreement spread, not complaint, but recognition. A younger spirit asked, "We do not ask much. We watch, we linger quietly. Is that too heavy for them?" "Sometimes a shadow becomes a weight, even when it does not intend to," another answered. Mama Emiri said nothing at first. An older spirit, faint but steady, raised a hand. "It is not only the living who grow weary. I stopped visiting my family last season. They looked at me with fear. I decided to stay in our own realm." Some spirits lowered their eyes. Mama Emiri felt those words settle like a stone in still water. A seldom speaking spirit asked, "What of the broom incident in Odeni's compound? It has reached our paths. It is a small matter, but it carries a long echo." All eyes turned to Mama Emiri. Her form brightened. "Yes," she said quietly, "the broom touched me." A ripple passed through them, sympathy rather than surprise. She continued, "It was an accident, yet accidents reveal what lies beneath." The elder nodded. "We cannot blame the living. Time moves differently for them. They carry burdens we do not see. We visit because we love them, but love must not crowd the ones it chooses. And we cannot continue as though nothing is changing," another added. Silence stretched. Mama Emiri looked around at faces, some with hope, some dim with resignation. Everyone knew the truth. They were waiting for someone to speak it. Finally, the elder said, "A sign is needed, a boundary, something gentle but firm, something to honor both the living and the dead." The group murmured agreement. Mama Emiri understood. She saw the ritual, eyes, the splitting that would reshape both realms. The spirits bowed their shimmering heads. The council was over. The path back to Odeni's home glowed faintly before her. Night had folded over the compound by the time Mama Emiri returned. The moon spilled pale light across the yard. Odeni, Ikenda, and Enene waited, though none admitted it. The air felt watchful, as if the compound knew something was walking toward it from beyond the wall. A faint shimmer appeared. Mama Emiri stepped through. Her outline glowed, the haze thicker. She walked slowly, each step carrying a decision. Odeni rose at once. "Mama, you came back." Mama Emiri nodded but did not smile. Ikenga bowed. Enene clutched Odeni's wrapper, sensing that this visit was unlike any other. Mama Emiri stood in the center. "Call the others," she said quietly. Within moments, Odeni's siblings, cousins, and 2 neighboring elders arrived. No one asked why. They simply knew they must come. When everyone settled, Mama Emiri lifted her wrapper and brought out a large coconut, dark and heavy, marked by the natural 3 eyes. A ripple passed through them. "Tonight," she said, I perform a small act with a long echo. This is not anger. This is understanding. Odeni's breath shook. Mama, what are you going to do? Mama Emiri turned to her daughter. I will make a sign between our worlds, a boundary born from what has been growing quietly inside many hearts, yours included. Odeni flinched. Tears threatened. She opened her mouth to deny it, but the truth pressed too heavily. She lowered her head. Mama Emiri placed the coconuts on the earth between them. As admonished by an old adage, the path that grows narrow warns the traveler to choose. When things become tight, a choice must be made. The spirits who had followed her from their meeting in the spirit world stood as silent witnesses. They shimmered at the edges of the yard, their forms soft, bright, or faint, depending on how closely they walked with the living world. Gasps rose from the humans as they recognized figures long gone. Some bowed, some wept quietly, none dared speak. She raised a hand and struck the coconut against a flat stone. Crack! The shell split cleanly. Gasps rose. Even the night paused. Mama Emiri held up the half with the 3 eyes, and then the other half. These are our sight, she said. What we see, what we do not see, what we should stop seeing, what we must let go. She turned to Odeni. Daughter, bring your hands. Odeni stepped forward, trembling. Mama Emiri placed the un-eyed half in Odeni's palms. It felt warm, almost alive. This half belongs to the living, she said. From today, you will no longer see us, not with the eyes of the body. Gas spread. Odeni stared, panic rising. Mama, no, that is not what I want. Mama Emiri's voice softened but did not change. It is what your heart already began to whisper, even before you knew the words. She lifted the half with the eyes. This half belongs to the spirits. With it, we will continue to see you. We will watch over you, but seeing will no longer be shared. Tears slipped down Odeni's cheeks. Mama, please, she whispered. Don't go. Mama Emiri touched her daughter's forehead, her hand cool as moonlight. I never left, and I will not leave, but some closeness must change so that love can breathe. The spirits at the edge of the yard shimmered in solemn agreement. The ritual was done. The sight of the world had changed. The night air trembled after the coconut split. Shadows seemed unsure where to settle. The family watched Mama Emiri. Ikenga rubbed his arms. The air has changed, he whispered. Odeni felt it, the familiar closeness, the quiet awareness of being watched by loving eyes, all stepping back, not far but out of reach. Enene clung to Odeni. Mama Emiri will still come tomorrow, right? Odeni swallowed. She will, but not the same way. Odeni and the others watched as the other spirits thinned, their forms fading into the night like mist losing shape. One by one they were gone, not abruptly, but quietly. They are disappearing, a cousin whispered. Mama Emiri nodded. This is how it will be. Tonight was the last time humans will see spirits plainly. The boundary is set. The sight has shifted. She stepped closer to Odeni. You will still feel us, a coolness near your door, a whisper in your dreams, a calm that settles when you are troubled. We remain, but your eyes, she tapped the coconut half, will no longer hold us. Odeni covered her mouth, a soft cry escaping. Mama Emiri lifted her reflective eyes toward the gate. You will learn to see us differently, and we will learn to stay in our place. With one final step, she walked toward the edge of the yard. Her outline faded. The last thing they saw was a faint glow, then the night. Morning arrived with a strange calm. The air felt lighter, yet emptier, like a room after a beloved visitor has gone home. Birds chirped, goats complained near the gate. The space by the wall, Mama Emiri's place, held a silence that pressed on every heart. Odeni rose early and walked there. She traced her fingers along the earthen wall, remembering how Mama Emiri used to shimmer. But there was no glow now, No cool air, only the stillness of clay. Ikenga joined her. "The yard looks different," he said. "It feels different," Odeni replied. In her hands, she held the uneyed half of the coconut, smooth and heavy, as if carrying more than its weight. She ran her thumb along its edge, unsure what to do with it. Enene wandered out, rubbing his eyes. "Mama Emiri didn't come back," he said softly. Odeni knelt and pulled him close. "She did, my son, just not in the way we can see." "How will we know?" Enene asked. Odeni touched his chest. "Some knowing comes from here." The family spent the day in quiet tasks. Odeni cooked slowly, pausing to glance at the wall. Ikenga repaired his stool. Enene played with sticks, but checked behind him more than usual. Word of the ritual spread. Some whispered with awe, some with relief, some with fear. Everyone understood that something significant had happened in Odeni's household. When the wind changes direction, says an Igbo adage, even the leaves must learn a new song. The village began to adjusting. Bowls once left for visiting spirits stayed empty. Children no longer expected to glimpse grandmothers slipping through doorways. The living settled into the knowledge that the dead still watched them, but from a distance their eyes could no longer cross. That night, Odeni placed the uneyed half on his shelf above the hearth. Not trophy, not burden, but reminder. She sat beside the fire and let her tears fall, and she whispered, "I hope she knows that I never wished to lose her." A soft coolness brushed her cheek, barely felt, not enough to see, just enough to know. Odeni closed her eyes. "Thank you, Mama." Though the room remained empty, she felt held. People still speak of the night Mama Emiri split the coconut. They say that when she gave the uneyed half to the living, human sight toward the spirit world dimmed forever. From that moment, the dead could still see the living, but humans could no longer see the dead clearly, only feel them in dreams, cool breezes, and quiet comfort. The spirits kept the half with the eyes, watching from a distance with love. The living kept the other half, learning to honor the unseen through memory and gentleness. It is said that when the eye closes, the heart must learn to see, because understanding grows where sight ends. Odeni kept the uneyed shell above her half as a reminder that love sometimes needs space. And so humans walk believing they are alone, while spirits watch them with eyes that never close.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe for more.